This story on our website, kcba.com. New tonight, police call it bullying on steroids. We're talking about gang stalking, but it actually has nothing to do with the gangs that you first think of. Central Coast News reporter Candace Wynn learned more about the trend.
Santa Cruz Police Lieutenant Larry Richards said police are becoming more aware of gang stalking because of cyberbullying. But what is gang stalking? Basically, the victims could be driving their car or talking on their phones or walking the streets when a group of people try to systematically terrorize them. Richards said gang stalking is nothing new, but new technology is making it more common.
Gang stalking itself, they have elevated themselves to technology. So this is something that's been going on before the age of Facebook, Twitter, those other social websites. They just now have gone into those areas.
Gazzino said he's proof that the problem isn't just online and that it can hit too close to home, a home he plans on leaving because of gang stalking. I'm Candace Wynn in Salinas, your Central Coast News.
If found guilty of gang stalking, a person may face criminal, conspiracy, and stalking charges, all of which are felony charges in California.
Greetings, faulty eyes. I'm reading an article that states that in 2009, Department of Justice estimated that the number of stalking victims who reported multiple stalkers to be in excess of 180,000 people during a 12-month period. That was back in 2009. But Freedom of Information Act documents show that Department of Justice deliberately lied about the total number, which is 500,000 to 600,000 people. So this information was found out, I believe it's called Stalking Victimization in the United States, publication number 224527. Now, why would Department of Justice deliberately lie about gang stalking reports? Why would Department of Justice refuse to help people that are seeking assistance from their office? We know that Department of Justice has a Office for Victims of Crime, also known as OVC, which offers assistance to all people which are victims of stalking. But if you've experienced stalking by more than one person, they will not cover that. Isn't that quite interesting? Now, we know that Department of Justice used to run these programs which were based on targeting people, mostly people of color. They supported the Stop and Frisk program in New York, and they also supported violating people's constitutional rights through a program called the Weed and Seed program, which was based on weeding people out of a community under titles like community engagement, community revitalization. The stakeholders for these groups were normally in the middle class brackets as far as income. They were not people that were marginalized. When we look at the stakeholders for Citizens Corps, the city, the state, we see that these people are mostly Freemasons, are tied to command centers, National Guard, reservists, Rotary Club, Sierra Club, American Legion. A lot of good people are in these groups. A lot of these people, in their minds, they think they're doing something good for the community. But the ones that are tied to a lot of these programs and are doing this repeatedly, they know what's going on. The COPS program, believe me, they know what is going on. And they have to feel bad at times for what they're doing. And what these people do is they condition people to think that what they're doing is ethical and that it is pro-American, when it really is not. So what happens is these intelligence agencies, they'll do their own thing behind the back of police. So police may be doing their own thing. And then you have intelligence agencies, you have school teachers, you have medical staff. They could be part of Reserve Corps and so on, National Corporation for Community Service. So you have all these different agencies. In their minds, like, I just want to help my country. I want to investigate this case, see if this person is telling the truth. And then guess what? These people eventually find out that what you're saying is true. What is done in darkness is always revealed in the light. And when people are doing wrong It's always going to be exposed. So what these gang stalkers want to do is they want to get you out of school. They want to label you as a threat or a health and safety threat, because what happens is that any time a person exposes a flaw in the system has to try to figure a way to make you look bad by bringing up your past. It can be maybe PTSD, anxiety, or something. And what these people will do is they will play skits so that way you get a diagnosis. So if you go to a doctor and say, look, I'm experiencing harassment in the neighborhood, they're going to say, oh, you're crazy, and start giving you pills and all this stuff. Because these gang stalkers want you to be incarcerated. They want you off the streets. They want to destroy your life. A lot of times they do this due to political reasons and so on. A lot of these lists these organizations are coming from radical feminist groups, liberal groups. In many cases, they have actually been partakers of domestic terrorism. I can share a lot of history about some covert activities which have caused serious death tolls in our nation. So we need to speak against violence. We need to speak against activities which are unconstitutional, which are based on anti-Americanism. We know that at one time fusion centers were targeting people based on political beliefs, third-party candidates, that bumper stickers that stated that if you're pro-life or whatever. So these gang stalking programs are about harassing school, make these people want to make their presence known. A lot of this is based on the SARA model, which is based on the utilization of many stakeholders. So that way it is not illegal. Now we know that NSA whistleblower Karen Stewart asked the FBI for help. She was hung up on. This one guy, he owns the Oil Trader Academy. He asked the FBI for help. He was hung up on. I have a list of many people. It's pages that have asked the FBI for help, and they've hung up the phone. I actually have a recording where you can actually hear them slamming the phone. You can hear it click. So when Americans contact the government and they don't want to help, what do? You just say, oh, I just give up on life. No, you have to expose this program, because if you sit around and do nothing and you don't make videos, you don't contact your politicians, what's going to end up happening is that these people are just going to continue to run over you. Even if you take down your videos, it's not going to stop your harassment, I promise you, if you're a hard target. So these fusion centers are nothing more than a mechanism which is about communicating with law enforcement, Department of Public Safety, private partners. This can be AT&T, Dell, their stakeholders, local city, Homeland Security, InfraGard, emergency management on a federal level and on a local level, the FBI. So these people are getting, at times, unminimized NSA data, and so these people are utilizing your data, psychological profiling, and all this stuff to make assumptions about people. America never had a gang stalking problem. Many cops in many cities are unaware of what gang stalking even is. But in many cities, entire police departments know about it. They don't want to get involved. They overlook it, knowing that it's been proven to cause serious problems in our nation. Now, no person wants to be systematically stalked and harassed, because we know that stalking leads to problems. It leads to fear, it leads to rage, and it definitely excuse me, it leads to shootings. And we see that when we look at the Baton Rouge shooter, the Pulse nightclub, Myron May, the Fort Hood shooter. We see that a lot of these attacks that are happening are engineered. Now, people from virtually all branches of government have shared videos on YouTube about gang stalking. So this is a governmental movement. It's operating in large numbers. There's a lot of people in large numbers involved in this in the Five Eyes nations. Excuse me. I have a sore throat. So this program is about violating a person's dignity. It's about degrading, demoralizing. I have caught these people. This is no joke. I have caught these people following me while I'm going to a police station to report them, and then once I go inside, the police are saying, they'll say, "Hey, we don't want to get involved. We don't want to investigate." I actually have a recording of this. Now, why is it that the FBI, Department of Justice, have gone to the state attorney's office? Why would they refuse to help or investigate? The answer is simple. They're a part of these movements, and they support these movements. That is why they hang up on the phone when people are asking for help. That is why Department of Justice laughs at people and they don't even want to help them when they're asking for help, when they have valid proof they're being stalked. That is the reason the police don't want to get involved, because they are stakeholders with your Department of Public Safety and these other groups. And a lot of these people are Freemasons. They're part of different religious groups which are somewhat Masonic. So a lot of these groups are filled with good people, but what happens is that these people, if you become like one of these political dissidents in their eyes, let's say you're a supporter of Hugo Chavez, you're Hispanic and you're poor and you're from Venezuela, and you support him because you don't have any Hispanic leaders to look up to. What happens is that you can become targeted due to that belief that he's a good person or whatever. I've actually heard of stuff like that. People can be targeted for any reason. They can be targeted because they're marginalized and they're living in a well-off area where everyone's making $40,000, and maybe you're a guy with a six-pack stomach and you're poor and you can't find a decent job. So these people have all these different threat assessments. They assume, they make these accusations. Oh, he can't go to school, he can't do this, let's get him out of school, he's a threat, he's a bad person. And all these assessments, all these different groups doing these assessments are causing all these problems. See, America never had this gang stalking problem. America never had a real serious active shooter problem until these programs started forming. So what's happening is these organizations want to get involved in your life, but they don't want to know you. First of all, they don't want to know you. They don't want to communicate with you. And they just want to harass you or try to get you into some religious group. This is no joke. I have been threatened to join a Masonic organization. I've been threatened to join a religious group. This has happened in 3 states. Now, these different groups, they do this because they want to have control over you. Now, I'm looking at declaring political asylum here shortly because I have my degree, I have a lot of skills. I don't need to live in America. I can cross the border, take a ship, whatever I have to do, I will do it to leave this country because I don't deserve to be systematically harassed. So Citizens Corps, National Corporation for Community Service, AmeriCorps, a lot of these people are good, but these programs like the Explorer program, COPS program, they are abused at times by local cops. This movement is highly tied to Jewish organizations. It's also tied to some of the largest corporations in our nation. A lot of these people are tied to, they may have so much tied to InfraGard, and they contract people into this. Private investigators, a lot of times, they will lie about it, but its movement is based on utilizing people which will do this for money. So they're going to use private investigators. So they're going to use contractors. And the sad thing about this program is that this program, which is being enforced through Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, command centers, all these different stakeholders, is being hidden. And under Exemption 6, Department of Justice cannot clearly state that, yeah, people are being gang stalked, because Americans would be in outrage. They would be furious to know that they are people that are they're right now in our schools, they're being systematically harassed and pushed out of school and at work, and they're being electronically harassed. A lot of these devices can be bought on amazingone.com. Some of these devices are being bought from law enforcement agencies, and if you speak against these people or you expose them, you can be attacked with ultrasonic weapons. I can build them. They're easy to build. There's diagrams online. You can make your own. You can buy them, and they'll shoot out these waves 300 feet, and it's unbearable. You won't be able to sleep. Some TIs sleep in their bathtubs. So this technology is already out there. There's all types of technologies coming out, these 1033 programs, and it's on the streets. So freedom of speech is really a bunch of hogwash, because if you say anything these people don't like, the elite, then they'll utilize our Jewish Zionist organizations, these fronts. And I love Jewish people, but the truth is that if you say anything bad about Israel, then, or what's going on in Palestine, you can become a target. There are agents which have clearly stated that they have come to America to target people which they declare to be a dissident, and that could be not having the same views as our representatives and congressmen, which all support these new bills and laws which make boycotting Israel a crime. And some have even mentioned they want to make it a criminal offense. So our constitutional rights would be like out the door. So I think that's pretty much all I want to share, is that this movement is a governmental movement. The best advice I can give to any human being that's being systematically harassed is to leave America. I also want to state that these people do utilize NLP tactics. I'm going to pause it for 1 second. I got to get some water. Well, actually, I want to share a little bit more. Now, I made a video. It's on my YouTube channel. You may want to go to my main YouTube channel and click under videos, and just press Control F and type up HEB 22318 6:45 p.m. Citizens Corps again. Just scroll down on my channel. You should find it about halfway down. So if you watch that video, you will see that these people work together in groups. Now, it didn't come out really clear, but I just started thinking today after I was doing some prayer. I remember while I was talking to that guy, he was not using his internet on his phone, but he made a phone call. And if you watch that video, you will see that the store manager came out the store. And I had complained about these people following me around, parking next to me, not going in the store and just following me around. In the past, I made a little PDF out, and I shared it with them, printed it out, and it showed their car, their tag, how they look, and then following me around. So if you watch that video, you will see that the store manager came out within a couple seconds of me talking to this guy. So he had her number in his phone, because I could see him scrolling down in his contacts, and he just pressed the button, talked to her, and said come outside, and she knew exactly where he was at. And I've experienced harassment at HEB for a long time. If you scroll down on my YouTube channel, just look up and down, just press Control, then the F button, type in HEB, you will see that I've had encounters with the store manager before. And what they're doing is they are stakeholders with police, a lot of these supermarkets. And what these people were doing was they were calling store managers in these different stores I was going to and telling them, look, watch out for this guy, he's dangerous, blah, blah, blah. And I was being harassed in stores. Everywhere I was going, I felt unwelcomed. I could be eating food with a relative, or like, what is going on? You know, I'm dressed in my church clothes. I have no sex, drug, or violence charges, and I'm being harassed by people, in many cases, that do not even speak English or have any skills. And some of these people even appear to have criminal records. So I mentioned in the past, and I've shared videos where you see these people, they'll follow me and they'll have one headlight on. And then while I'm recording, you'll see the other headlight come on. I'm like, holy cow. So my friend didn't believe me. I had an old buddy come by, and he says, man, that can't be. So we're in the car one day, and we could see this high beam on us. We looked back, it was this red car with one headlight. Then all of a sudden, 30 seconds later, the other headlight comes on, and we can see the guy he had his car light on, messing with some, I guess, wires or something. So this happened numerous times. So the day yesterday, I was driving, and I seen a car with a license plate, Texas plate, said CRL 7680. The guy didn't have a tag on the front of his car. So he was behind me. So I pulled off the road, and I figured I was get right behind him. Then another car went as fast as it could to ride on its tail, so I couldn't get its tag. And then seconds later, I had numerous cars with no tags surrounding my vehicle, honking the horn. I knew something was up. So there is a lot of clandestine activity going on here in our country. And what these people want to do is they want you to go to the police to complain about this, so you sound crazy. I'm not going to go to the police and complain about it. I'm making a video, and once I get to 100 incidences like this, then I'm going to share it with police. Say, hey, this is what the private investigator is saying. This is what people at work and they do all these criminal investigations. They use the probability of an event. They're saying it's mathematically impossible for this to happen. Does not happen in major cities, but it's happening to me. That all these people are stakeholders, are tied to police or federal agencies and so on. So that way I have a case. I don't want it to get to that point. Right now I could easily take the city of Austin to court because they have failed to protect and investigate, and due to that I have been harassed by these people more and more and more. In this, it's illegal. Harassment is illegal, and it has caused me to leave schools. It has caused me to go to many doctors. So I have a very, very strong case. So my statute of limitations has not even begun concerning my human rights, the human rights violations I've experienced. So I have plenty of time. I have a tremendous amount of case codes I can use to prolong any case. So I'm going to leave it in the hands of a human rights attorney if I decide to go that route, but I hope it doesn't lead to that. But it's looking like it's going to. I hope not, but I've been harassed way too much. So that's pretty much all I want to share. This is a governmental movement, this gang stalking movement, and it's just based on degrading, demoralizing, and they do this because they think they can get away with it. And the sad thing about this movement is that it does cause shootings, and these people try to use a few people because they think in their minds that if they're harassing and threatening you and you lash on 2 or 3, then they get you off the streets. So you want to look for the groups, these large groups of people, so we can get them off our streets, take them to court, and inform our politicians what they're doing, so we can get these people in jail. People that orchestrate attacks against our nation, that systematically harass people, pose a serious threat to our government. Thank you for listening. Say no to domestic terrorism, say no to mass shootings, and say yes to counterterrorism awareness, and respecting U.S. laws. Peace.